Hello, boys and girls. It's good to see you today. Today we are going to write a sentence. Actually, today you're going to write a sentence that tells why and how. Now, I will help you with the first part, but you know how to do the why and the how, and you want to write a sentence that's your very own. You're not kindergartners or first graders, and you can write your own sentences. I'll get you started, but you come up with your own how and tell us why as well. Now, our simple sentence that we're going to start with is this. The frog jumped. And then we'll tell how the frog jumped, and then you'll tell why. Now, I'll go ahead and write with you the frog jumped, and we'll go from there. So you get your sharp pencil and your paper, and let's just get the first part, the boring part, the frog jumped. So Mr. Phelps, go ahead and put your name at the top. Just the focus. And your name will go here, written neatly. And a sentence has to have a who or a what. And our who is the frog. Capitalize our first word. The frog. And a sentence usually has an action. And in this sentence, it's jumped. The frog jumped. Now we could end it there, it'd be very boring, but it would be a sentence if we put a period after it. Jay goes down into the basement. P. Jump. Now the t sound at the end of jumped is not a T, it's spelled ED. Now don't put your period because we haven't told how or why. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I'll give you some suggestions for how. Here's some that I came up with, how the frog jumped. You could say the frog jumped quickly. You could say the frog jumped anxiously. If he was afraid he was going to be eaten by a snake or something else, he might jump anxiously to try to get away. When you're anxious, you're nervous. He could jump carefully if he was afraid he might miss the rock that he was trying to land on. He would jump carefully. If he was very strong, he might jump easily. It's a cinch for him to jump. He's got strong legs. He could be a really good jumper. You could say he jumped perfectly. Maybe you want your frog to jump quietly. Maybe she's a happy frog, so he jumps or she jumps happily. So you decide the frog jumped quickly, the frog jumped anxiously, carefully, the frog jumped easily, perfectly, quietly, or happily. So first you'll write the frog jumped. Then you'll put your word that tells how. It doesn't have to be spelled perfectly. You can spell it, sound it out, and your teacher will be able to read it. And then finally tell why. Your why should start with because. Here are just some sentences. Here are some suggestions for why. You don't have to borrow any of mine. You can do your very own. You could say, because he didn't want to get eaten by the snake. Because an eagle was swooping down toward him. Because she had tremendously strong legs. Because she didn't want to wake the fish in the pond. Because he loved life in the river. Now you can come up with your own why. Here are just some sentences that I wrote. These are mine. The frog jumped quickly because he didn't want to get eaten by the snake. The frog jumped easily because she had tremendously strong legs. The frog jumped carefully because because he didn't want to get his feet muddy. The frog jumped quietly because she didn't want to wake the fish in the pond. The frog jumped happily because he loved life in the river. Those were mine. You come up with your own. You have the frog jumped. Now tell how. Once again, you can say quickly, anxiously, carefully, easily, perfectly, quietly, happily, and then tell why. The frog jumped, how, and then why. After you've done that, send your sentence to your teacher.